Welcome back. It's your girls here for another episode of Mindset Talks Podcast, your favorite podcast streaming in today's times.
And if it's not, then it better be. So make sure, sure you guys listen to all of our
Promise,
episodes.
not a threat.
Okay, we'll go with that.
He came in with some authority. She said, and if not, capital T.
I have to because I mean, I could be totally biased here, but I think that we are very lovable. So why wouldn't
Yeah.
we be the favorites? You know what I
I
mean?
mean, it's catching up with the girlfriends, right? Who doesn't want to catch up with some girlfriends and just hear what's going on and just have a good banter, good laughs, and
Exactly.
agreements, disagreements. It's just good stuff. So that's
Yeah.
what we're here for.
And I feel like we always have some like super fun stories to tell. So
Yes. Oh gosh, yeah. So, I'm gonna share one. So, y'all, the other day, Cassie and I were talking about being late because what was it? You were running late for work.
oh, I sure was.
Yeah.
But like,
So
oh yeah. Well, go ahead.
so we're talking about being late for work, and I it made me think of a story that I just had to share, which Cassie mentioned. I just have to share this with y'all. So this was when I was still working in the store, and I was a manager, right? So sometimes we had to open the store, like completely open the store, and we didn't have anyone in the stores like overnight.
Mhm.
So I was going to be the first person there with a few other associates and do the opening procedure. So, mind you, I had to be to work, I want to say for 5
Okay, y'all, that's
a.m.
how far removed she is. She doesn't remember what time she had to go to work. Hey, but
Right,
anywho.
right. Or I was just very traumatized by the hours that I had to be at work. And I just am trying so hard to forget and not allow
Girl,
it to be a part of my life. But anywho,
traumatized but every hour, but go ahead.
girl, I used to have to work at 5 in the morning. Like, ugh, be there at 5. Anywho, so I wake up, right? Late AF, late as hell. So
Like, you woke up after 5
I
or
woke up after 5.
oh god.
I woke up after 5, and it was probably about um you know what? Nope, I remember the exact time. I had to be there for 6:45. When I
Mm,
woke up, it was about 6:15, and
oh.
it took me about 25 minutes to get to work.
Mm.
So there was no way I was making it on time because I just woke up.
Right.
The dog has to go to the bathroom.
Oh, shit, yeah.
I still got to get dressed. My hair having locks, that's helpful. We'll figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And it's like breakfast, your girl don't operate well off of breakfast, but I'm going to have to go hungry. So I literally, when I looked at the time, my heart shot out of my chest.
Don't you
When
hate
I,
that feeling? That is, like,
yo,
the worst when you're late and you're like, "Oh my god," and you're like, "Fuck, I gotta go," and you're, like, rushing around and your heart's pounding and
oh my gosh, like if you could feel a heart attack but not have an actual heart attack,
right.
that's being late to work is what that is. Being late to work and caring.
Mm,
That's what that is because there's plenty of people
true.
who are late to work and they're probably like, I'll get there when I get there. But
Yeah.
for those of us who have a strong work ethic and really care, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I was done for. I sprung out of the bed like the game Don't Wake Daddy. I popped up so damn fast.
Whoa, wait a
If
minute, we're
y'all,
taking it
right,
back right here. What the hell?
right. If y'all are our
Wait, do
age
you
or
remember those
older,
commercials?
yes. Yeah, Don't Wake Daddy and
Oh my
Mousetrap. That
god,
used to
that
be
is
my shit.
wild. You just totally brought back this, like, memory. Holy
Girl.
shit.
Girl, I sprung out that bed and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I'm trying like running to go brush my teeth. And I said, you know what? Let me hit up one of my coworkers who lives closer than I do. He
Mm,
still has a little bit of a drive, like maybe like a 15-20 minute, but
mm,
he could get there quicker than I could.
yeah. Well,
So
if it's a
I
dude,
hit
they don't take long to get ready anyway, so
Right, right. And it's like, he didn't live alone. They had cats. They didn't have any dogs to worry about taking to the bathroom. So like, he could leave.
mhm.
So I hit him up real quick and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need, like, called him in the wee hours of the morning.
6
I really
AM.
need your help. Um, I'm supposed to be opening the store. I just woke up and I know there's gonna be people there waiting and blah blah blah. Can you help me, please? So he's like, oh yeah, no problem. I'll help you out. So I'm like, oh gosh, all right. So I'm still rushing to get ready, right? So I'm like running in
Mm.
between my room and the bathroom, just getting ready. And I said, wait a minute, it's Saturday. I don't open till Sunday. I'm off today.
Yo, that's wild.
I am off today.
Oh, shit. And you realize this after you just called this guy and said, "Hey, I need you to come open up for me." How much longer after you got off the phone did you realize this is the main question?
Literally within a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
However,
Oh god.
he moved so fast when I called
Uh-oh.
him back, he was already in the car.
Oh, no.
But he didn't leave his house. He
Oh,
was in the car about to leave.
yikes. Oh my god.
And I'm like,
How like, what do you even
yeah,
man.
about that. So did you know today's Saturday? He's like, yeah. Yeah, I thought it was Sunday. I actually don't open today. There were already two managers at the store.
Oh, shit.
He would have went there to open the store and the store be up and running.
You'd
Like,
have been so confused.
oh my
I mean,
gosh.
in your defense, though, you did realize it, and you called him, thankfully, before he went anywhere, so he avoided embarrassment, and I'm sure he really enjoyed the laugh that he got
Oh
from your
my
situation.
gosh. When I seen him next, he was like, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, "Really, chick?" He always used to say that. "Really,
Mm.
chick? Really?" I'm like, "Hey, I really appreciate you. Can I buy you lunch or something today?" Like,
Oh god, that's, like, the worst. Not only is it horrible, like, when you're running late for work, but then, like, if you're in a situation where, like, you are and, like, it depends on you, and you have to call somebody else, and then you realize after the fact, like, "Oh, wait."
oh my gosh. And it was one of those things where I was subconsciously concerned about it
Mhm.
for whatever reason because I remember that weekend was actually my sister's birthday weekend. So I had took Saturday off like I requested that day off.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
so we had went out the night before
Mm.
and for whatever reason I think it was just a fear that I held on to in general as a manager with that
Mhm.
position because of how far I
Oh, I'm
live from the
sure.
store and
Yeah.
right having to be up early. So I guess I was just holding on to that fear so strongly that I just my mind was clouded and I didn't know what day it was or anything going on. And it's just like,
Oh, man.
I'm off today. Do you know how long it took me to like settle my heart? Because even though I realized what day it was, my heart was still like, okay.
Well, I'm sure it was because you just went through a lot, and here it is, not even 7 a.m. yet.
It's shit. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
shit.
I tell you, like the funniest time that's ever happened to me was that time, like waking up late and like springing out of the bed. That I'm usually not late to work, but in some of the rare instances I am.
Mhm.
Um,
Happens.
it happens. One time I was late to work because the dog locked me out the house. Like it was weird. So
Oh,
yeah, that one really had
well,
me.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's the story that I needed to share with y'all. So
'Cause it's
Cass.
absolutely hilarious, and I think that that, like, tops anything because, like, I've been late before and, like, panicky and stuff like that, but, like,
Hmm.
thankfully, I've never been in a position to where, like, something truly relied on me. So it didn't really make, like, too much of, like, a difference or whatever, but when I heard you
Right.
saying that, I was like, "You have to share this story
Oh
because
my
I'm sure there's plenty
gosh.
of people that can relate, and it's just too funny to not
That
to keep
scare probably
yourself,
stripped me
so
like a good 3 years of life
I'm
because
sure it did.
the pressure on my heart. Oh my god. That's crazy.
Oh,
Crazy,
man.
crazy, crazy. So y'all, I have like 3 alarms set to this day. Anyways,
Same.
because we not playing that.
Not at
We
all,
not.
and I still get up on the last one, but that's another conversation.
Well, that's why we have 3.
Mm, I guess.
First, second, and get up. But I do, before we jump into today's episode, I do want to bring up a bit of some weekly tea.
Uh-oh.
Um, yeah, I don't know if y'all been following. the story of the black woman who was missing. What's I don't get nobody's name right. Carly.
That sounds
She
about
was
right, yeah.
she was a nurse, or worked in the medical facilities.
Mhm.
So if you haven't been following, she was missing. She reported a 911 call about a toddler that she's seen on the highway. Mind you, all this is down in Alabama, so I don't know what's happening down there. So I don't know, but a toddler on the
Yeah.
highway sounds crazy.
Mhm.
So she pulled over to save this child and wound up missing.
Yeah, for, like, 48 hours.
And to just make things even more interesting, I guess we can use as the word,
Mm.
uh, playing back footage, there's no visual of a child on the highway.
I mean,
No
I
one
didn't know
else
that they had
reported a
footage.
child. Supposedly, there was footage
Mm.
or of where she had pulled over or something like that, but there was no one else that reported seeing this child. No one reporting a child missing. um, to indicate that maybe that was their child walking on the interstate.
Mhm.
She came back, and the stuff that I seen had mentioned about her phone history, her browsing history. This is why I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, that's the
Um,
latest update that I've seen.
yeah, so they pull up the police pull up her browsing history. Now, y'all that are listening, keep this in mind. Your browsing history can be viewed
Oh, yeah.
in circumstances when need be.
Mhm.
So you might want to hit the clear button if you got shit you don't want people to see.
I mean, even then, they can still
They can
find it
still
somehow, but
track it back.
not as
There's
easily.
really You can't really hide anything today.
Yeah.
There's just really you really can't unless you're completely off the grid.
Mhm.
So she had searches about, and please Cassie chime in if I miss anything.
Mhm.
She had searches about does it cost for an Amber Alert? That was one of the things I seen. She looked up how to was it like to rob a cash register? I
Hmm.
may be wording that one wrong.
Oh. So I didn't see, like, things that she had
Oh.
researched, but the latest headline that I did see was just in similar fashion that, like,
Mhm.
they had located some things, some suspicious behavior that she was, like, looking into, like, I don't know how long before her disappearance happened, but basically she was, like, trying
Mhm.
to look for, reporting missing people or, just
Yes.
things, like, kind of relating to her situation, which is a little sketch.
Very sketch.
Um,
Very.
but I mean, I don't know, like, I'm into, like, forensic files and, like, all that kinda stuff, but, like,
Oh, we
I don't
know it. We know it.
like, I don't Google, like, missing like, how to go missing and, like, all this kinda stuff.
Mhm.
So, I don't know. I'm really curious to see, like, where the story goes, but to kind of go on the other side of things, I'm
Mhm.
also very intrigued, and I don't know, maybe this is, like, a ploy, maybe, she did this for some weird reason,
Mhm.
because the other part of it too, right, is that her car was just left on the highway, and then she was found not found, but she walked back to her house, like, 48 hours after, she initially went missing, and I don't
Mhm.
know, I think she, like, looked, like, beat up and, like, whatever,
Mhm.
but the family's not doing any comments. They're pretty much just saying, like, "Respect our privacy," like, "She's home now," like,
Mhm.
"We don't wanna talk." So
Mhm.
on one hand, I'm like, "Okay, well, that is kind of weird because, like, this went viral, like, the world wants to know, like, what happened." At the same
Absolutely.
time, like, yes, like, we do respect your privacy because, that's your time and it's gonna take, time for people to, like, come out and, like, talk.
Mhm.
So I kinda, like, see both sides of that, but say I don't know, I'm not convinced that, like, she did this for herself because I have heard get that out.
She got it out.
So I have heard of, like, kidnappers and stuff doing things where, like, they would do shit like that, and they
Mhm.
would, have, like, a kid running on the freeway or something because they know that, like, a woman's maternal instinct, she's
It's
going
to
to stop,
stop.
and she's going
Mhm.
to look for that child.
Right.
And, that's obviously the perfect opportunity to kidnap somebody. You
Mhm.
see weird shit like that all the time, like, they put, like, zip ties, like, on your door handles at, like, a shopping mall or something to, like,
Right, to
your
tissue in the door handle and
yeah,
yeah.
some, like,
Mhm.
weird shit. So, like, I'm not totally convinced that, like, this was a setup.
Right.
I can totally see where it's, like, possible that, like, this is real.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know, just the whole thing is, like, kind of weird because
It's
like
very inconsistent. It can go both ways as a setup or as a real situation.
yeah, and she's kind of like a nobody, like, not to be, like, rude or anything, but, like, nobody really knew anything about her, who she was, like, before this happened. And I
Mhm.
say that because a lot of people are comparing this to the Jussie Smollett situation where,
Yeah.
he faked, like, all this stuff and, like, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know. I just it's very weird. So I'm truly curious to, like, see where this is gonna go, and I know everything is still under investigation and whatever,
Mhm.
but I do hope that, like, the family comes forward and, like, says something to the media because if they don't, um, I don't know, it's just gonna get really more suspicious.
She better end up on a episode with doing an interview with Miss Gail King. Shoot, because
Yeah.
it would be interesting to know. I'm not gonna say we need to know, but it would be very interesting to know.
Mhm.
Um Again, I am glad that it's a search for a woman of color that wasn't necessarily taken lightly, it seemed like.
Right.
Um, but I will say in the same breath that I'll be very disappointed if this bitch was lying,
Right.
but at the same time, I rather just look at the positive and the efforts were put in to search for her and she's home. Uh to our understanding, she's safe. So
Right.
I
That's
think
the
right
important
now that's
part,
just what
but
matters the most. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. But no, I don't know. Now you have me kind of thinking, like you said that was in Alabama?
Mhm. Ain't nothing happening down there. Oops, sorry.
No, but I'm wondering, like, I don't know. Like, is this a race thing? Like, are the cops just, like, making up this stuff? But, like, why, right? Like, what is the purpose?
Mhm.
I don't know. So,
So many questions, no answers.
definitely. And you're right. Like, no, we don't need to know, but at the same time, now that these other allegations are out there, I do think that they have a more of a need to speak up than they did if this was, like, strictly just, like, a kidnapping situation.
Mhm.
Um
Yeah, and that's the hard part. The internet's involved, and they know the internet's going stupid on this, so it's just
Mhm.
it makes it hard to see things from only one side, which we should have an open perspective anyways, but to
Right.
have the perspective of it being fake, it's like, "Dang, I wasn't really trying to look at it like that," but but, you
Yeah.
know, things happen, so
Right. It never crossed my mind it was fake. Because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, shit," like, you hear about that stuff, like, people will do these things to kidnap people, like, never once
Mhm.
did it cross my mind. Because when I heard people saying,
Right.
like, "Oh, they might have to, like, charge her with something and, like, whatever," but, like, I don't know. This shit is just wild, and it's very weird, and I just don't understand it, so please
Right.
call
You're
and
on.
tell us what happened.
Right. And for the rest of y'all out there, stay safe.
Yes, definitely.
Don't
Don't be picking up no kids on the highway.
right, don't pick up no kids on the highway, keep the lights on them and tell them to stay where they at. Lock
Exactly.
your car doors, 'cause god dog. And
Yeah.
y'all who got the kids, pay attention to your kids. Let no kids be out
Right.
there on no daggone highway, that's wild.
Well, I don't think the if it's a situation where somebody's truly kidnapping someone, I don't think that those kids are just
Well, I know, but
doing this
god
willingly.
dog, poor babies over here being used as a setup. Ugh.
I know. No one's talking about the kids though. So,
Ugh, sure ain't. There
mm.
wasn't one. Anywho, so that's our weekly tea this week. So
Oh, man.
please feel free to chime in, reach out to us, thoughts,
Mm.
comments on that because there's a lot of opinions on that situation and we'll
Mhm.
be glad to hear more. But we'll end our weekly tea there and jump into our episode for today. I'm gonna let Miss Cassie kick it off. I know we were looking at speaking on some finances.
Yeah, so I thought it'd just kinda be, like, a good topic to, like, discuss because I don't think, like, behind closed doors, it's something that, like, we've ever really, like, talked about, so I'm kind of
True.
curious to just, like, I don't
Pick your
know,
brain.
hash it out and just see, like, what kind of things are you doing, if anything? Like, what is your knowledge base on like situations and things and whatever?
Mhm.
So I guess one of the things that like kind of start on, which is one of the most recent things that like I've done and started paying attention to
Okay.
is I've always been fortunate enough to where I've had some kind of like a savings.
Right.
And I've kept it in, a traditional savings account through, a bank. But I'm starting to learn more about something called high yield savings accounts.
Ooh, if I could just read your mind. I knew that's
Um,
exactly what you're gonna say.
oh, okay, good.
Listening.
So curious to see like, if you're taking part. But basically I've been doing a lot of research and the bank that I currently have my like savings in has a very, very, very low percentage rate.
Mm,
So I've only made like, under $100 over a year,
mm,
you know, growing interest on the money that like I have sitting in there.
right.
And I recently came across a different facility that has a high yield savings account, which
Mhm.
is like, I don't know, maybe like double the percent that like
Wow,
my
nice.
stuff is like currently in. So I took
Mhm.
some money out of my current account and I put some money into this new one just to
Mhm.
like see,
Right. Watch it
is it really
grow.
beneficial? Like, does it truly do anything? Like, what is this all about? Like, it
Mhm.
doesn't really hurt anything because 'cause I'm not losing money, right? And I just
Right.
might not be growing it as fast, whatever.
Mhm.
But so let me tell you that I've only had my money in this new account for maybe 2 months, and I've already made more money than I did in the other account over an entire year.
I believe it.
And I
I don't
have
That's
sorry,
crazy.
and I have less money in the new account.
Wow. Yeah. Not sure if you're willing to share that information. Feel free to share it with me off camera because my man has been telling me now oh god, I hope he's not listening because he's going to be like, "See, I've been telling you." He's been telling me now for
Uh-oh.
some time, I'm not going to say the amount of time, that I should be switching to a high yield savings account.
Mhm.
And I actually have two savings accounts, but one of them was actually acquired from my mom. So I'm just not
Okay.
sure if that one is a high or not. So I actually have to do a little bit better with my research and getting that determined.
Mhm.
Um, Oddly so, as of the end of last week, my bank had a hacking situation where our
Oh,
online system has been interrupted. So,
always
online
fun.
banking is not an actual thing right now. They're still working on it, almost at a week's time of it being down. So, that's a
Yikes.
bit concerning. Also, a
A little
smaller
bit.
bank. So, I'm thinking maybe it's time to switch and look at that high yield savings elsewhere because I have no problem with doing a transfer and watching my money grow.
Yeah, well, so wait, where it is now, is that considered to be a high yield savings or it's just like a regular
Just a regular savings for one of the accounts. The second account, I am not certain, but I'm feeling more certain of the fact that it's not a high yield
gotcha. Okay.
because I ain't seen nothing grow.
Okay, duly noted. Alright, so you'll do some research on
Hmm.
shifting your money.
Facts.
Um,
Yes.
so I agree with your little boo. I think that is a great idea because I've already seen the progress and I'm
Hmm.
currently debating if I should move more money into it.
Right.
Although just like the concept like makes me nervous and I don't like
Hmm.
having like too many accounts because then it gets confusing and like where's the money,
Yeah. You have to
whatever.
keep track of a whole bunch of different. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, they do say that you should never let your money sit.
Mm,
You know how like the
yeah.
really like old school ways is like keep your money like under a mattress, like don't keep it in
Hmm.
a bank and like whatever. Like, yes, it's all fine and dandy. You're always gonna like have that money, but
Hmm.
if you can truly grow the interest on it, it is such like a huge thing.
Right.
And
Right. I
I
believe in having both.
yeah, yeah. So that way you always have like somewhat of a safety net. But to my understanding, high yield savings accounts are very, very low risk because, like,
Hmm.
worst thing that can happen because the rates do always fluctuate,
Right.
and it can go lower, but it can also go higher, and you don't lose the money that you have. So it's not like
Hmm.
stocks, right, where the money goes up and down. Like your money
Exactly.
stays the same. It's just that you might not accrue as much as you would if it was higher percentage.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a
So
win-win.
exactly. So,
Mm,
you
ow.
know, uh, oh, here we go.
So I've gone many episodes without hitting myself, y'all, and here it
Yeah,
goes.
I'll give you that.
Ugh.
But yeah, so I highly recommend, if you guys are listening and you don't really move your money, definitely Google. There's plenty of different high yield savings accounts out there, and I would at least look into it and start doing your research.
It's so funny you say that because literally when I got out of work today, that was one of the things I just randomly started looking into
Mm.
was the high yield savings. And I'm like, hmm, hmm. Yeah, I gotta move a little faster with this. I'm just being a little turtleish, but my schedule's been very tight lately and I've been very busy. So
Mhm.
I'm finally having time to breathe and being able to look
Yeah.
at more things in life. So we'll have a conversation at the end of this episode so I can know where you're at.
All right, we'll do.
Okay.
So that's kind of like one of the things. And then, I kind of mentioned like stocks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as into stocks as I was maybe like a year or two ago.
Okay.
I did sign up for Robinhood. So, if you guys are interested, just go to the link in my bio and sign up on my
Bruh.
account.
For real though.
We both get a free stock. But
Who doesn't want free stock?
exactly. But so anyways, where am I going with this? So stocks are completely different because it is high risk and it takes
Yes.
a lot of research because you want to make sure that you are buying stocks that are doing well and or stocks that might not be doing so well
Mhm.
and when I say not doing well, I mean like just aren't like that expensive but have like the potential to grow.
Right. Buy low, sell high. That's the motto of
Exactly.
stock.
Yeah. So I do have some money in that, but I don't pay as much attention to it just
Hmm.
because, um, you know, well, I didn't have like a bad experience, but like I kind of went into like the crypto phase.
Oh, okay. You got into that?
I did, and I was a little late to the game.
Okay.
So that was definitely, like, my biggest loss, so I'm really hoping that, like, Dogecoin yes, I invested in Dogecoin,
She said yes.
will start to go on the rise again if it ever seems to go viral.
Mm,
Um, so I got really excited when Elon changed the, like, Twitter logo to the little do dog thing,
right.
but that didn't do anything. So,
Oh my
you
gosh.
live and you learn with stocks, but only I guess you can say it's kinda like gambling.
No, it very much so is gambling. What do you mean? Kind of like it is a very strong form of gambling. It's just, in my opinion, it can be a less hands-on version of gambling.
Yeah, that's
But it's
true.
gambling.
Okay.
It's
Alright.
gambling. You flipping them chips. You either selling the stock or you're buying more shares. Like just it's your money and your money is wagering. I
Mm,
mean it's nice. I mean I don't know if it's actually nice, but it's like yeah, I'm technically an part owner of this company because I have some of their stock, but it's just
mm,
like all right, well, make sure you're picking the right company.
right.
And, companies aren't always going to stay afloat for long because
Mhm,
it depends on the economy. A good time to already have had been established with stock is before COVID hit because
mhm.
a lot of things blew up then. I work for Home Depot. Home Depot stock had went up. That shit's
Yeah.
gonna happen. But I mean, at the same time, COVID was also a good time to buy stocks while they're low because then once things start to come back together and come back
Yeah.
up, your numbers are jumping back up again. So
Mhm.
gambling, straight gambling.
It is, but it's worth the gamble once you do your research,
Hmm.
and as long as you're gambling something that, like, you're okay with potentially losing.
Right.
It definitely doesn't go as quick as, like, if you're sitting there in front of, like, a slot machine gambling your money away.
Hmm.
But it does have the potential to go lower, but just because it goes lower doesn't mean that you should take your money out. It
Mm-mm.
can always go back up. So
Right.
stocks are definitely more of the like long term, just kind of like let it sit and like watch what happens
Yeah.
situation. But it's always good to kind of like disperse your money in different avenues,
Hmm.
um, and just see what you can do to make things happen.
Right. And look at trends. Always look at the past trends on stock to be able to help guide your decisions on which stock you want to buy.
Mhm.
I do have some stock myself, which I am not active with. I am a lazy gambler, I like to call it. So I just kind of I'm not maximizing the stock that I have. So if I can give some advice, though, the stock shares that you are looking to buy, definitely do your, like I said, look into what you're getting. Just because it's low doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It might be the best time for you to buy it, but if it's low, look at that history and see how long it's been low for, and if it's had any high peaks. That can help to, in my opinion, make a better
Mhm.
decision.
Yeah, no, it definitely can. Because like you said, if you look at the low and you look at, like, the year high, and
Hmm.
it's, like, in between that or whatever, that's, like, the time that, like, I would buy it because it has a potential to go back to where it was. So,
Right. Right.
that's definitely important and really good advice right there.
Yeah, and like she said, use a Robinhood app. It's funny, I actually had downloaded it, and now that you mentioned it, and I was thinking to myself, that's another reason why I should probably switch my stupid ass bank, because my bank is actually a credit union rather than a bank,
Mhm. Gotcha.
not on Robinhood. It wouldn't allow me to link with the Robinhood.
Oh.
Like,
Oh, that's
couldn't.
right, you have to, like, set up your account or whatever. Oh.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Guess who's going to be changing their bank account this week?
Okay. Alright, well, just make sure you're clicking on my link when you,
Oh, girl,
do
you
that.
know it. You know it. I just find it so interesting that as a country, and obviously I can't speak for everywhere, but I just feel like the education around finances really should be standardized. Like, it should be
Mhm.
a strict part of the curriculum, because once we reach adulthood, you're dealing with nothing but finances the entire time.
Yeah.
You work for companies where you get 401ks and they'll match you at a certain percentage. A lot of people don't know what that means. You get,
True.
like, with my company, in certain positions, you receive stock from the position that you hold. Like, you can receive free stock from your companies,
Mhm.
and you get the stock and you don't know what to do with it. It just sits there.
Yeah.
I just find it so crazy that I remember having a finances class in high school as an elective.
Yeah.
It wasn't required, and it's just, we're not setting our future up for being able to live and handle in this world and make the most out of their lives, not being able to make the most out of their money. But again, that's one way to keep the richer rich and the poor more poor.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, there are, motives behind certain things that are done, but I find it important that if you have any knowledge in a financial aspect, that you should share that. That should be shared.
Yeah. No, definitely, and I agree because everything that, like, I've just told you guys and go over is all research that, like, I've done on my own, and I'm in
Hmm.
my 30s, like and this is
Right.
something that, like, I'm recently doing in my life. You really need to start when you're younger and when
Hmm.
you're, able to leave the nest and, like, you start working and all these kinds of things
When you're able
because
to count, fuck that.
well, for that, what I would suggest for all you mamas out there and
Whoop,
dads if you're
whoop.
listening, is even when your babies are little, like, I mean, like, even your child's age,
Mhm.
like, open up credit cards for them and
Yes.
start accruing their, credit scores and stuff because it will
Mhm.
really help them when they're able to, kinda do things on their own, so
Right, and look at the credit cards, because not all credit cards, accept minors under a certain age. Like, my credit
Mhm,
card does, the youngest is 15.
mhm,
So, there are different rules with different credit card companies around that, but that's a great way to start building their credit, because
mhm.
how are you an 18-year-old with established credit without anybody's help? That,
Right.
like, oh, in order to get a cell phone, you need to have credit.
Yeah. I remember when I was in high school, my dad gave me a credit card,
Mhm.
with my name on it, and he never, like we never really talked about it, but, like, I think it
Mhm.
was with the intent to, like, help me get my my credit card.
Right.
At least that's
Right.
just what I say.
Yeah, no, we definitely started that
Mhm.
over here with the
Yeah.
credit card. Obviously not with my credit card company because I'm just picking all the wrong shit is what I'm starting to learn. This episode really has me reevaluating my life, and I hope it's the same
Oh,
for y'all too. Because, like, damn, I'm over here like, damn, girl, what you really doing over here? I thought this was good, but apparently it's not that good.
well, good, I'm glad we're
Oh.
having this conversation. Had a little get your little butt in gear over there.
Right. Yeah. So, honestly, I'm not changing my credit card company because I personally find them to be a very great company and I've been with them for years. Um,
You might. Oh, we'll get to that.
but there's always room for other opportunities, right? Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, and you should have more than one just because it helps, your credit score and whatever, but,
Hmm.
not too many. Not I'm not saying like 10, like 2.
Right. No. Yeah. Girl, no. I've worked with customers who are like, this is my fourth Home Depot card. I'm like, four?
Yeah,
God
that's
damn. When do
wild.
you need that many? You know what? I'm just doing my job. Thank you for signing up with another card. I hope you have a great day. Like, goddamn, four for Home Depot.
Yeah, that's wild. I won't even open up a credit card at Ulta, so,
Oh, no, I ain't doing none of that shit. I already did that in the past and let that shit go. Mm-mm.
no.
Times of the past.
Well, I'm glad I
Times of
didn't
the
based on
past.
that reaction. Oh, man.
Wow. But you know what's funny? I always feel like thinking back on back in the day, it
Mhm.
was common to hear about people talk about having savings bonds
Mm, yep,
for
mhm.
kids or grandkids.
I sure have mine. Thanks, mom.
And I feel like today you don't really hear that so much.
No.
But I have heard about, oh my gosh, I'm gonna say it wrong because I say everything wrong. I'm like my mother's child for real. 529C, it's like an investment account where you pretty much put money in there for your child. So just another way of where you can invest for your children and
Mm,
help money grow and allow them to have um some type of cash for when they are 18 or whatever the age requirement is for them to be able to have it.
mm,
Um, I could also be confusing this or mistaking this, and it is the college fund. There is an account that you can have that you put money towards your children's college fund. So that way it helps with paying off with school and tuition and things like that. So
mm.
there
Gotcha.
are there are resources out there, but it's again.
It's up to us to do the research.
Right, because what we're provided with is okay, you have single living or you have whatever that class is in high school where you take a baby for like a week or something like that.
Yeah.
Those are the options they give you, and I'm gonna tell you that I was not carrying around no doll for no fucking week. That was
No, I
not
never
an
did.
option. I was
Yeah.
already a certified babysitter watching real children and getting paid real money, so there was no way I was doing that for free at school.
Right, right.
So, I took the single living class, so it taught you how to live on your own,
Mm,
and that was more of money management, but which is good. Money management is good,
mhm, definitely.
but it still lacked a lot of detail on just finances in general. So it was just like, oh, you have debts and credits. Your rent is a debt. Your income is a credit. Like, oh,
Thanks.
wow,
That's helpful.
thanks. I
Yeah.
feel so smart.
Mm.
Wow. So
Yeah, they
glad I
don't really
skipped that
get
baby
into
class.
because there's so many things out there, and, like, I'm just kinda, like, dabbling into it, so,
Right.
there's gotta be
And
something. It's
and
very
think
tough.
about the teachers we had. Our teachers probably didn't even know
Probably
half the
not, yeah.
stuff that we needed to know anyways.
Right, I mean, shoot, even my parents didn't really tell me anything or teach me anything about,
Right, right. Like we're here to teach those around us.
Mhm.
And again, like people, what you know, share what you know because god dang, like there's so
Part of
much
it.
knowledge. But then it's also hard because you have to weed out what's real and what's not valid information too. Because nowadays on the internet, a lot of people can just post anything,
Well, yeah.
so it's just you
Gotta
really
pay
have to put
attention.
in efforts with the
Yeah,
research.
definitely.
Girl. Ooh, child. Over here just having epiphanies in my life talking about finances and who am I? What am I doing? What am I missing? Damn. And talk to your friends about finances because girl, why have we not been had this conversation in our lives? Like we
That
about
is
to have
the
a real ass moment here for a moment, okay? Because there's no reason that we have been friends for as long as we have and not spoken finances.
why are we why the awkward pause?
It's just crazy because
Oh,
I stopped myself to think that it's
what
really
the hell's happening?
it's really been taboo to not talk about finances. Like I feel like
Mhm.
it's been a thing that you don't talk about finances. And my man and I have talked about that before where it's like especially in the black community, you don't talk about what you make and you don't talk about like what you're spending your money on and you don't talk about any of that stuff like okay.
Gotcha.
So I was just thinking for myself, that's probably why I've never really talked with you about it because it just wasn't really a thing. Like it's
Yeah.
more
You
recent in
don't
my
really think
life.
about it, yeah.
Right, but it's just like shit as friends and not just us specifically, but like in general, people in their groups and circles of friends
Mhm,
that we're ultimately here to better ourselves and each other.
mhm,
So when we don't discuss things like that, we're missing a step, right? Like we're missing an opportunity to allow ourselves to grow and to just be better in life. So it's
yeah.
just like shit. Like if y'all ain't talking about finances with your friends, you need to start now because I know we about to start. I'm about to hit that group chat after we get out of this call and be like, all right, so I don't need to know how much you make, but
Mhm.
how do you invest your money? Ask your friends, how do you invest your money?
Right.
I
Yeah.
think that's a great way to start a conversation. How do you invest your money?
Mhm. And
And
if you don't,
bam.
why? Or, like, let's start or, whatever.
Right. Right. Because who doesn't want to say, "Oh yeah, me and my friends we balling. Don't
Right.
talk to us. You ain't balling. No, thank you. Bye."
Yeah.
Like, and then more the reason to go on group trips and things like that. Oh shit, I just accrued all this interest. Where we going? Where we going?
Well, that too, I've been
Like,
looking at this JetBlue credit card for a while now. I just haven't, signed up for it yet, but there's
see,
a lot of
but
perks out there in different, scenarios.
right, there's a lot of opportunities, but they're not gonna come to you. You have
Right.
to go to them.
Yes,
Simple as
that's a
that.
fact.
Think about where you're spending your money at the most and see how you can benefit from that.
Yes, definitely. Because there's ways you can do it, you just gotta figure it out and be smart about it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Work the system and it will work for you.
yes, exactly. Well,
Ooh,
damn, girl.
Cassie. Yes. I right. Like we really over here like
Oh, shit. That was, that was a lot more fruitful than, I was anticipating when I brought it
yeah.
up this morning, so I'm liking it.
Yeah. 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 Definitely feeling this episode got me on some like ooh, that good strong energy is vibing high. I'm loving it. I'm
Good.
loving it.
That's
Wow.
how it should be.
Definitely.
Mhm.
Definitely. I hope y'all enjoy this. I know y'all enjoying this. I know.
Well, duh, 'cause it's the favorite podcast ever.
Hello. Your girls are
Don't forget
here.
it.
Your girls are here. Well, shit, gem dropper. You got anything else to be dropping?
I think that kind of, expands my knowledge for the day,
Okay.
other than if everybody wasn't aware, they can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And we appreciate all of the likes, follows, and comments that you guys can possibly provide us, and any
Absolutely.
kind of ratings or sharings or whatever your little heart desires. We appreciate it and we appreciate you.
Ooh, girl, you ain't lying. All right, y'all. Well, we are out for this episode, and until next time.
Bye, guys.